Hi guys, Mario Presents here. Coming to you live for the first time in a very long time outside of the CPAC after party, which unfortunately we did not get into. It's kind of unfortunate. It's a really sad story. Lady Margaret was invited. We arrived. They showed up and they said no. One of the reps said no, we can't have you here. They wouldn't give us a reason why. Lady Margaret says this is going to be her fight, so I'm like, okay, I'll wait in the car. I'm not going to leave you here by yourself, and I'm not going to let you catch an Uber. I said, but it's cold outside, so if you want to videotape outside, you're welcome to. I'll be here. But I also sit here and I'm thinking about this. I just watched a man get arrested at the same party that we just got thrown out. We got invited to and then not let into. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, going, this is truly what the left talks about, is that, they only like you because it's convenient to them. You should hear about the things they say behind your back. And that's true. I mean, I heard some of the things they were saying about Lady Margaret behind their back, and I had some conversations, difficult as they may have been for the other people. I got people thinking. I got them thinking about themselves, because, you can walk by and say, oh, that person's degenerate, blah, 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 and make it sound, and because you're upset and maybe it bothers you. But ultimately, if you want to lead them to Christ, you maybe pay them a compliment, a light compliment. Oh, that look must have taken a lot of work. That's not a lie. That's not saying that you like it. That's not saying that you dislike it. That's just saying a fact. And at the same time saying, it's very brave of you to come out here looking like that. I hope you have a good time. Even if you don't, maybe if you say, or you have a good rest of your day, I'll pray for you. Simple as that. As opposed to walking by and talking about how they're degenerate and blah, 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 blah. Because that's not really going to bring them to Christ. That's not going to bring them to your way of thinking. That's not really going to help your soul as well. And what happened tonight only reinforces what the left says about the right. Again, like I said at the beginning, they only like you when it's convenient. They only want to use you, and they'll throw you out. When leopards eat your face, blah, 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 blah. Don't be caught. And the left is going to celebrate about this. They're going to laugh. So I hope that the people who support their gay brothers and sisters, and especially the people like myself and Lady Margaret, who put ourselves in very difficult situations deliberately so that we can have a voice, so that we can say, hey, we do exist. We are an effective weapon against fighting the left. Because, when we walk in, you think one thing and another thing comes out, and it trips up the mind, it trips up the brain. And talking to patriots at CPAC, all weekend or all week, I've learned that they're not homophobic. Most of them are pretty accepting, and they all tell us that they have a gay friend, a gay brother, a gay sister. Maybe there are people who disagree with the presentation, but again, we can have conversations about that presentation and what you say and how you approach it, as opposed to pointing the finger. Because ultimately, the most truest saying and the hardest thing for people to recognize and come to terms with is that God uses people who they think is undeserving. And God used the undeserving for a reason. He didn't choose the pastor. He didn't choose the perfect people to do his missions. He's always chosen the most imperfect person. And I'm not saying that I'm chosen by God, but I do recognize his blessings in my path and his ability in my life, and I do recognize that, and I consider myself blessed. So I just wish that the people who support us maybe speak up a little bit more when things happen, because watching this and seeing people saying, what's going on, da, 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 as opposed to making even bigger ruckus and just kind of wandering and poking your nose out, and then, oh my gosh, okay, well, oh gosh, that was so terrible, well, it's really unfortunate, but it had to happen, or it was unfortunate, but moving on. Sometimes, in order to actually access change and create change, we really have to start standing together, and asking the questions. Because if someone an individual or two individuals made the executive decision, that would be very nice to know. Oh, this specific person didn't want you there. Great, that's fine. Now I have somewhere to direct it. But when you're just being told, oh, well, we can't have you here, that's a non answer. And a non answer is kind of the worst answer. And my response to that is making them verbally uncomfortable. And what I did was I made them say, well, then, so that means you're uninviting us, right? So then, will you say that out loud so that the camera can hear you, that you are, I'm sorry you were invited, but now you are uninvited? Because when you say that to someone on camera, when you say that and those words really leave your lips, it really leaves a lasting impression. So I hope that the people responsible for what happened feel good about themselves, because, and I mean that sarcastically in case you didn't notice, because I know sarcasm is lost on this generation. But I really implore conservatives to do better, of all types. Those who agree with our message, those who agree with our message and disagree with our presentation, and the people responsible for the humiliation of people like us. So I love you guys all. I missed you guys. And this is part of the reason why I started getting away from all of this, is because I saw this division. I saw how you treat these people, and it's really sad. And I want you guys to do better. I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.